Welcome, WHMB Channel 40 viewers, to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. Tonight, we're going to talk about IMPD. That's Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. One of our guests did a ride-along, and we're also going to talk about the police action shooting that happened last month. So, hey, let's get to it. And we actually have a commercial this week. Our guest, Stephen Crane, probably about a month ago, he started the Morgan County Correspondent. And
in downtown Martinsville, which is home to the new Morgan County Correspondent, the new weekly newspaper here in Morgan County. We are now accepting subscribers and advertisers. You can find us at morgancountycorrespondent.com or by calling 765-201-0302.
All right. So you see, we have no Lucy. She's on a phone call or something, or chasing a kid around the house or a chicken or something. I mean, there's something going on there. But we do have Brad. He's actually survived 3 shows now, one as a guest, one as a panelist, and here he is today. So we're looking forward to that. So, Brad, how are you doing? And I'm going to put you out here on the hot seat since we don't really have a guest.
I'm doing pretty good. I felt a little bad last week. Like Catherine was telling me so much about my own county that I feel like I should have known about. And I mean, it was a good show though, because it really brought me kind of up to speed on other things I should be paying attention to.
I have Lisa filling in for Tiffany. Tiffany has, she forgot it was her daughter's birthday tonight. So she was like, oh, I've double booked. And you know how that goes. Hey, here on Mouthwash, we family first, Mouthwash second. That sounded bad, but go ahead. So, Lisa, that's how you got roped into this. So, thanks for coming on tonight. Hopefully, we won't ruin your political career on the show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be mindful of all my responses tonight.
Look who the cat drug in.
I know. Okay, good. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, the cat definitely drugged me in. This humidity, our air conditioner putzed out on us. So, thank goodness we've got like a little backup. This is why I look so terrible tonight. This is like terrible. But yeah, we're dealing with no AC over here. But I'm sure thousands and thousands of people are.
So I'm going to play the very first. I'm going to go ahead and play the clip. I'm going to play the clip. So we had Slick Witty. He's our new investigative reporter. He's digging into some of this stuff, and he's done some ride-alongs with the police. And this last time, he's done 3. The last one, he called me. He said, hey, what kind of questions do you want to ask? What would you like to know? So I did a little interview with him. And we're going to play the clips. And after this one, I'm going to play the introduction clip. All right, Mouthwash viewers, we have a special guest tonight. We have Slick Witty. He's our new investigative reporter. And he's actually gone out and done a couple ride-alongs with the IMPD here in the city. And we're going to find out what he's found out. But first of all, Slick, how the heck did you get the job of being an investigative reporter on a crazy show like Mouthwash?
Well, I think me and Mouthwash have a kinship with each other of finding crazy people. So I think it was a magnet for me. I was attracted to Mouthwash, and I pleaded about going on the show and showing the amount of work that I put into the investigations of everybody that I kind of look into, because I love my deep dives.
Yeah, you are definitely someone who gets into this thing. So let's get to it. This is about IMPD, and you've done 3 ride-alongs. Tell us your craziest thing that you ran into while you were on these ride-alongs.
So I think the craziest one was just the other night. It was a Friday night. Like you said, I've done 2 previous ones, and those 2 previous ones were a combination of Friday night. But the craziest things that we ran into was the second call. There were 2 family members. They were on pills and they were drunk and they were fighting with each other in the middle of the street. So the neighbors, they called up the police trying to get things situated out. And they spent 2 hours trying to calm the whole situation down. Pretty much immediately, the first officer that arrived was like, I recognize you. Even though you're not going to tell me your name, I know who you are because we ran into each other a year ago with the same situation. So they got handcuffed pretty quick because they were about to fight again. Like one of the sisters, like she threw up her hands and started swinging a little bit. And then the other one had to block and they had to restrain them. So we were there for about 2 hours. The paramedics had to get called. The fire department had to get called. So you imagine 2 hours, 3 officers, and then the supervisor got called. So they're all off the street. There's no resources at all for the Southwest District for their beats because 2 sisters decided to take a couple of pills and drink a little bit and get into a fight with each other.
So what do you think maybe the toughest thing a police officer has to deal with?
Discerning the critical nature of the event and how it will impact the community. So who is at the greatest risk, right? So is it the 2 people that are fighting, or is it the community that's around them? So they're obviously taking resources away from other events that could be going on at the same time. And this was Southwest District, so this could very well have been in our neighborhood.
Oh, hold that thought. Hold that thought. So
yeah. So, it's I consider that a domestic, even though it's sisters. It's not a husband and wife. It's still a domestic dispute. I'm
going to ask Brad. I'm going to put Brad out here because he's from Alexandria, which is near Anderson, Indiana. Do you have stuff like that going on in Alexandria?
Not so much. I mean, every once in a while, you'll see it in the newspaper or read about it on Facebook, kind of a thing. But I would never want to be an officer in that kind of situation. It just has to be demoralizing. You were talking about the morale of the officers and how they try to keep each other up, but I'm sure that it has to be just kind of a revolving door of, you're seeing the same people sometimes. You're getting people for the same things over and over again, and it has to probably weigh on you. So I would think my question is, do the officers have kind of mental health resources through the departments, and not just in the case of emergencies, but just in the day-to-day, stuff that they have to see? It has to be awful.
And that's a very good question. So Brad, here's the answer to your question from Slick Woody. He's been told they have very amazing for mental health for officers.
Right. So the crime that goes along with all of these drugs is a direct result of the perpetuation of the drug war. Because if the black market was not created by the government, then you could go get a prescription for this stuff. I mean, when I was a teenage ballet dancer going to Broad Ripple High School in the performing arts program, I know it's hard to imagine, as fat as I am now, that I used to be a little ballerina on my toes, but I was. Half, maybe 3/4 of the girls were taking diet pills.
I think that now I'm going to ask the question. So I'll give you each an answer. We'll start with Lisa. How do you, is going to be good, bad, or ugly? This is a good, bad, or ugly guess. How do you think the morale is with police officers that Slick Woody observed? Good, bad, or ugly?
Oh, goodness. I kind of feel like I'm at an unfair advantage based on the meeting that we went to last night. But
it's only an hour-long show. Come on.
I would say bad. I would say bad.
Okay, bad. Lucy, what would be your guess on that? Good, bad, or ugly? It's your choices.
Bad.
Bad? Bad? Okay, Brad?
I'll guess ugly, just to...
Okay, so we got a bad, bad, and an ugly. Well, let's go ahead and listen to the next clip here. How do you think the morale was with how things go on?
Well, that was a prime question that I had, because I really wanted to know. I mean, there's a lot of policies that are getting changed. New prosecutor got put in last year. And so I wanted to know, is like, even though you make all these arrests, you have the cases, they're built up. We see all these people, they're getting let loose or getting put on a low bond. What's the morale with you guys? And they said, we try to keep each other they try to help each other out if morale starts going low, because they can build up this whole case if they want to. And they just happened. I mean, we see it almost every week between Ryan Mears, but they do the best that they can. It's a pretty tight-knit group in the Southwest District, and they're always contacting each other. They're making jokes to, like you said, boost morale at the night, because their late shift is from 9:30 at night till 6 o'clock in the morning. So they're already on a kind of a goofy sleep schedule. And because they've had so many either call-offs or people have training, there's not enough officers to patrol the street. So everybody's working overtime.
So there you go. I don't know if they answered the question, but it sounds like it does get, they lift each other up on there. So I want to play the Mark Small one here. And so you're going to have to buckle up, because if you're a gun owner, like Lucy's already shaking her head. So, all right, we may have to have a timeout after this, but here you go. I'm playing it. We show all angles of this thing. So here you go.
Hi, Mark Small. This is Small Talk. Police shootings. People shot. They didn't know that they were going to get pulled over. They in the wrong place in town. They didn't have the right color skin, all those things. What boils down to what? Guns. The leading cause of death of children in this country, the United States. Now, I know once Small Talk is off, you're going to go, well, he's just kind of screwed up as usual, and go on with your merry ways. But if you advocate guns and you say, well, if they prevent more crime, then they create and all that other stuff, nah. It's not what the facts show. Go ahead and lie all you want about guns. We got all these people dying every year. Make it more free? No. Our revolution wasn't won because individual firearms. If you're going to talk about individual firearms, British had them, everybody had them. They weren't a unique thing of a person having a firearm. The principal factors in our winning the revolution were, one, France, because they had a navy, they gave this cannon, they were able to hold the British Navy off, interrupt their supply chain. Second, distance from England. Plus three, England, people were getting upset with all the money going out to maintain a set of colonies, especially here on the North American continent. For what? They're spending a lot of money. So get that crap out. Don't say, guns make me free. How do they make you free? Did you point at somebody coming into your house lately? The stats on stopping crimes with guns are all made up. The gun manufacturers stopped CDC sponsorship, a peer-reviewed study of gun violence in the mid-90s. Oh, gun manufacturers stopped it? Must have been a good reason. Yeah, they knew they were killing people, and they were lying at the same time. So cops, people getting shot in these confrontations, guns. It boils down to guns. So you feel more free because you got a firearm. Congratulations. You represent a risk. You represent all these people dying. Congratulations. Mark Small, Small Talk.
I told you he was a little fiery. I think that the comment would be, well, Cain killed Abel with a rock. I mean, that's what I think the NRA would say.
Delusional to say that, we're making up statistics when it's actually the left that makes up statistics. So I went ahead and Googled, what are the top 10 causes of death among children? And it turns out that 30.6 of it is unintentional injuries. And after that, it's 15.9% cancer. And then 8.10% congenital malformations, deformities, chromosomal abnormalities, homicides down to 6.6%, heart disease 3.9%. I expect that one to jump soon, died suddenly. Now that's age 5 to 19 years. Now it is absolutely incredibly disingenuous for Mark and other leftists to start talking about firearms being the leading cause of death among children. We're not the type of people that think that we know better than you how to run your life. And concurrent with that idea of we know how to run your life better than you do, is the idea that we know how to spend your money better than you do. And so this is one of the underpinnings of taxation. They don't think it's theft because you're too stupid.
Say it. Say it.
Taxation is theft.
Yes, that's
yes.
a good. It was funny. Jason Hammer's son put taxation is theft in his yearbook picture. Brad, what's your viewpoint on the gun situation? I mean, you're coming at this from a Democrat. A lot of Democrats want to take away the guns and whatnot, but not all of them.
See, I don't understand that concept. No, but I always think the whole argument that the Democrats are going to come take your guns is ludicrous, just because I don't think it could ever be put into practice. At any point in time. Guns are here. They're not. I don't think that argument is ever going to go away, or be settled. People are always not going to like guns, and some people are going to love guns. They're part of our history. It's not. It's in the Constitution. It's here.
We need to solve our issues without shooting each other. And it seems like that is, we're going to play the clip of the video that was left, that was let out today with things. And Lisa and I went to a meeting last night with CRT. Now they explained to us in very much detail of how they do this. They send the video out to California to a non-biased company, and they look at the video and they, make it up. Then they show it to the family, and the family says, they edit the spelling or whatever, but they don't try to, and they show the family the video, that the raw footage, and then they show the video that they do explaining. Now,
so is there commentary with this video?
Yeah, what they do is there's a lot of it, and I would urge you to go on YouTube. It's because our show is strapped for time. We are going to show a clip of it.
Part of the analytics that this department did with the feedback from the families, that they wanted the commentary to go along with the video to provide more context.
We're going to start it, the video where they talk about the process up to where the video actually comes out, and it'll show you on the map where it is. It'll tell you what sort of happened, and then it'll show you the footage. And then if you keep watching, they'll go through it, and they'll show where the gun was in his hand. They'll show you a lot more. So there's not really anything to be doubted. Now,
emerged from his car holding a handgun in his right hand and then ran. A short foot pursuit followed as Mr. Harrell ran with a handgun in his right hand and a cell phone in his left hand. Officer Carell gave verbal commands to Mr. Harrell to stop it, drop it. Officer Carell discharged his service weapon twice, striking Mr. Harrell once.
Like every other Mercedes-Benz EV, the EQB features the very latest generation MBUX voice-activated.
Control Adam 168.
So, whether you want to set a new destination, change the tunes, turn up the heat. All you have to do is say,
Put me at 3-4 Parker. What are you doing?
The feeling is all
I thought I was going to hit her. I was whooping like that. You got your driver's license, Andy? I just came off of prison. All right. Hold on. Don't come out here and talk to me. Come out here and talk with me. Come out the second car.
Still the party back very quick at Parker.
Man, stop. What I'm doing? Foot pursuit, eastbound 3. Stop it! Drop it!
Attention on road, southside, 34th and Parker. You listen back.
26 showing up. Hold on. Control Adam 168, officer involved shooting. Stand by. Medics. It's not secure.
The following is a portion of the previous video that has been paused, magnified, and highlighted. It shows Mr. Harrell as he reached into a compartment and retrieved the handgun. Holding the gun in his right hand, Mr. Harrell then ran from the officer. Mr. Harrell had the handgun in his right hand when Officer Carell fired his duty weapon. Mr. Harrell then dropped the handgun on the driveway.
Basically, this video is explaining what happened. They're not adding any commentary to, is it right? Is it wrong? Is it whatever? But start with Brad. And Brad, what did you see there? And I'm going to go down the list here. Everybody's going to get a chance to talk about this and give an opinion.
Well, it's again just unfortunate mistakes made by the driver. In my opinion, I don't know who pops out of the car when you're pulled over, and even if they weren't following any of the officer's instructions. And once the weapon's involved too, other issues might come out, but I don't see how the officer did anything, incorrectly. My thought when I first saw it this afternoon was that what if there was a family right around the corner of their garage? He injures and the shooter, or the suspect injures one of them or takes one of them hostage, or, it can escalate really fast. And
a lot of what ifs. A lot of what ifs.
And again, if the suspect didn't have a gun on him, it would be a completely different scenario. But, he was a danger to the public at that point. So I think the officer could make the argument that, he acted appropriately. So like you said, I don't know. It's
tough one.
Yeah.
Tough one. All right, Lisa, you get a chance.
John, you and I have a lot of, I'm really trying to not get emotional here. You and I have a lot of friends that don't look like us. And we don't know what it feels like as someone who doesn't look like us to get pulled over. They have to deal with a lot of other emotions. We heard on Sunday night that they have to have the talk with their kids about what happens when they get pulled over. And I've heard friends of mine describe what that conversation is like. Hands at 10 and 2. Don't hide your hands. Do not reach for your glove box. Do not do this, that, and the other thing, because they are so fearful of what, and I'm not talking about Indianapolis police. I'm just talking about law enforcement in general. That is what they are afraid of. And so did this young man do the wrong thing in the way he responded? Probably. But was he predisposed to being fearful of something like this happening to him? Probably. And so I can't say whether I thought this was right, wrong, or indifferent, because I don't know the full context. Even though there is commentary to go with this video, I do not know the full context. And I also don't know his prior experience and why he felt like he needed to run and why it went down the way that it did. But I think all of us as humans, regardless of our color, need to try to understand how others are experiencing this life.
All right, we'll put Lucy out there. You get to go after that, Lucy, because this one's a tough one. I mean, this one's a tough one. It really is. And I'm not gonna be host. I'm gonna actually give my opinion after you. And so go ahead, Lucy.
I have many friends that don't look like me too. And I put this up in the comments, so go look at the film, The Jones Plantation, because I think it'll show you that a lot of this, hopefully you'll get the message behind the film if you haven't seen it. I have this talk with my children. Some of my children are as hopelessly pale, almost translucent as I am. And some of my kids are a little bit toastier since my husband's a little darker complected. The fact of the matter is all of us should be having this conversation with our children. And the conversation is, you are confronted by an agent of the state who will very likely suffer zero negative effects if they shoot and kill you. There will likely, regardless of the circumstances, whether the cop is seen as in the right or in the wrong, if you're not cops, you're little people. And so you need to be aware that every interaction with a police officer, whether it is for your dog barking or having a party or getting pulled over, could absolutely result in the death of a citizen. In this particular case, I don't want to say, I side with the cop or I don't side with the cop. But any thinking human being, especially one whose parents have had the talk with them or especially has experienced life as a minority in this country, should know that you do not reach around into a glove box and pull out a gun. And in a time when so many, and who knows what the real statistics are, but in a time when it is possible that dirty cops carry around unregistered guns to throw near your body afterwards so that they can claim, I'm super grateful that the body cam is there. Every interaction with the police should be taped. We should be able to review it. But in this particular case, I'm not going to fault the officer for what was done. The man who was the motorist that was pulled over, he very clearly put the officer in a no-win situation by grabbing his gun.
Yeah, and I would urge you to go see the whole video. It's on IMPD YouTube page. I looked at this video and I saw a couple things here. One thing that got me was how fast the guy grabbed that gun out. And just think if he would have grabbed that out and right at that officer. I mean, he would have, I don't think the officer had his gun drawn at that time. It looked like when he was dead. I had to watch it 3 times just to see how he did that. I mean, he was like on his phone, and it was like he was on his phone thinking about what he's going to do. And I honestly think that he was probably on something. He seemed like he wasn't, and he probably was driving to get pulled over. And it seemed like he did something to get the officer's attention, but he did not want to go back to jail. I mean, that was that he was, I'm going to run and get away and try to get away. This kind of thing to me, it's very personal because Saturday I was almost run into by somebody in a car that was running from the police, like 10 cop car. I mean, just endangering everyone. He ended up wrecking down the road for me, but I was just fortunate not to be all crashed up, and who knows what, who could have been hurt. So I think that when somebody runs, there has to be some sort of consequences. But this case looked like a dude running around the corner. I mean, he could have stopped around the corner and come back with the gun. I mean, it just was, there was a lot of things that could have gone wrong there. So Lisa, you want to talk about some more stuff here? You got a question?
I just want to say, we're talking about this on this show. We're talking about all of our perspectives of what we've seen. I think as a community, we need to be mindful of the fact that we can't be a jury of peers within a community. We need to leave this up to the expertise of the officials who do this. We can comment as much as we want to about what we perceive this to be, but we need to leave it to the professionals to actually do the work to see justice come. And that involves a lot of other things than what we see on this video. That involves conversations, that involves investigations, that involves a lot of things that we are not privy to. So I just want to say that out loud, that we need to be mindful of the fact that there is a justice system that we hope will provide justice in this case. And we need to let that play out and not be, not feed into the social media frenzy that's going to feed off of all the details of this video without any context. So.
Right. Well, and, I urge everyone to go watch because they do a really good job of explaining what's going on. They're not putting any of their commentary in there. It's just basically explaining what the process was.
I do think we all have a talk with our kids, especially once you learn how to drive. Like once you're in a vehicle and you're, in a traffic stop, I think everybody gets that talk. And I got it. I'm still scared whenever the blue and red lights start flashing behind me, even though I don't do anything wrong. There's nothing in my car. It's just, that's my fight or flight, reaction.
All right, Channel 40 viewers, that'll do it for the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty fresh take on politics. Join us right here again next week, Monday, 11 p.m. on WHMB Channel 40.